Historic flooding as Ida traveled across the Northeast. Parts of New York and New Jersey received up to a foot of rain as the New York City subway system shut down overnight. Newark Airport also suspended.
I need to tell you what is happening in my home country. Over 2 million of my fellow Kenyans are facing climate change.
I'm starting a series called Not So Fun Facts, where I steer people into caring about the climate crisis.
To be able to survive them, as it was reported as the remnants of a large life front to produce.
We want to tell people that their concern and their desire to still air and clean water is relevant. Tell that to the kids in the South Bronx, which are suffering high rates of childhood asthma in this country. Tell that to the families of the planet.
I think sustainability can really be whatever you want it to be.
Something that's really important with sustainability is just like finding ways for you in your own life to be more sustainable, because it's not always the same for everyone.
I mean, there are so many basic things, even just buying a reusable water bottle and taking it around campus and filling it up instead of buying a plastic water bottle that you're going to have to dispose of after you use it. They're just small things that you can do that they're not going to make the most difference in the world, but they will make some of a difference. So really anything that you can think of that would help the environment, I think is worth doing.
There's things that you can do as an individual to be more sustainable, but where we see the real change, the real impact of sustainability is when it's systemic and it's involves institutional change.
This is a huge problem. It's a global problem, and it shouldn't be one person solving it. There's no way it's not going to happen with one person solving it. It needs to be a global solution.
Which means voting for people, not necessarily just Democrats, voting for progressives, voting for people that are actually going to voice the concerns of the people, voting for people closer to our age group that actually have reason to care about what happens after us. Because right now we're trying to design our future, whereas the people who are running us are trying to design their current situation.
And then I also think, like, on a less like individual scale and a more like broad scale, you have to remember that it's not just like individual people that are just like, I don't know, like polluting the planet. It's a lot of like corporation and pollution. So like, I think another important part of sustainability that people don't think about a lot is like overconsumption and like that kind of mentality of consumerism.
I think it's also just important to remember that like climate change isn't all on us as individuals. It's not all of our fault that like we're in this mess, but we can together like try to fix it and come up with solutions that are able to change the climate crisis.
Although consumers have some power, I think it's completely unreasonable to demand them to bear the burden and the responsibility for issues that have been primarily caused by large corporations.
Of course, I am more inclined to say that corporations are in part causing more of climate change, but again, we have all played a part in it, I think. Think of climate anxiety as something that probably a lot of the younger generation deals with today. If you're staying informed, you know, you see things every day on the news. I mean, especially this summer with wildfires, droughts, extreme flooding in areas. It's just very concerning to think about your future, especially if you still have maybe 60, 80 years left on this planet and you're wondering what's it gonna be like in 40 years, you know?
For me, I wouldn't say that I have climate anxiety. I walk a line between feeling hopeful and disappointed.
I mean, I think it affects people's mental health in so many ways, and probably so many ways that we're not even sure of yet, because I don't think it's a topic that we have devoted much of our time to, because it's something that's developing, and we still have the debate of whether climate change is real or not, which is kind of absurd.
So climate anxiety is definitely something I struggle with, especially because like in my classes we learn about all of these horrible things happening, and it's like overwhelming to learn about, and like it like overwhelms people, and they're like, well, if the world is going to end, what am I going to do about it? Like, what could I do individually? And so like there's this like whole mindset of there's nothing I can do, I'm just a person. And I think that's really, really bad.
So there's this thing called the tragedy of the commons, and it's this concept where if I were driving down the road and I threw a piece of paper out the window, I have the mindset of it's just one piece of paper, it's no big deal. But if everyone thought that way, then there would be pieces of paper all over the world. But I think this same concept can be switched to a positive, and if everyone was like, this is a tiny impact, like it's not going to do anything, then no one's going to do anything. But if everyone's like, hey, this is a tiny impact, but anything helps, and if everyone thought that way, you'll have like everyone like helping and working together.
What I would say to people who are feeling apathetic or scared of the future, I would just say that there's a lot of great work being done, and that you're not alone. There's many people who care about this cause and are acting on it, and they need your help, and you should seek those people out, and you should join them.
Take a step back and remember that you're just one person, but you still do have an impact, and remember that there are like millions of other people around the world that are having the same anxiety as you, but also the same like passion and drive to help solve the problem. Have like a right mindset about it. Like it's not all on you, and it won't be all on you. We're all like have to share the burden together.
Just the worst thing that we could possibly do is look at the world and say there's nothing we can do, or that there's no chance. But if we look at it and say this is what we need to do and this is what we got to do, then we'll do it, and we can actually make a difference.